Hey everybody, come on in. It's the Yankey Show. We're going to start in just a second. I was just sharing a little bit and getting it out. But come on in, like and share. You got to share this. It's an independent little show. And if you don't share it, I'll just be sitting here talking to myself. And that is the saddest thing I could think of. I'm sure there's sadder things. But come on in. This is the Yankey Show. We're going to start as soon as I remove this little picture. There I am. Come on in. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk pretty much about whatever you want. So let me know what you want to talk about and what's on your mind, and we'll get into it. Because I've got some stuff written down, but it's going to mostly depend on how you guys are and what you want to talk about, what we talk about. This is an interactive podcast. So come in and hang out with us. We're going to hang out for about an hour and talk about a few different things. First on my list to talk about, to get into, if you follow any of what I do on here, you may have noticed that I interviewed a flat earther this week on Conspiracy Theories and Chill. And a lot of people were upset by it. I don't really know why. I think it's okay to have these conversations. I think it's okay to talk to people with different beliefs than me, you know? I don't feel like I need to close myself off in a bubble. And I think it's all right to talk to people like that. But I am obviously in the minority because a lot of people are upset with me about even interviewing her. I interviewed Roxy Love, and a lot of people are mad. And the feed crashed, so I understand it got cut off halfway through. We were doing an interview on the flat earth for Conspiracy Theories and Chill, which is my conspiracy theory show, and that is a conspiracy. I mean, you may not like it, but it is. And Roxy believes in the flat earth, and I wanted to let her get her views out uninterrupted. I always like to look at all of it. You know what I mean? And I had pushback scheduled and planned, but we didn't get to it. So it kind of looked like a celebration of the flat earth, is what it ended up looking like. But she got her views out, and we are going to continue the interview tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central, I believe. I'm going to make sure and verify that, but I think it'll be 3 p.m. Central. But we're going to do the interview, the other half of it, because we got cut off. The feed crashed. But I don't believe that anything should be off limits. You know, I honestly don't. We were having fun. That the conspiracy theory show is for fun. There are a lot of things we talk about on that show that are real. There are a lot of conspiracies that are real. Conspiracies are a real thing, you know. So it's not like it's crazy to believe in conspiracies even. And there are a lot of conspiracies that have turned out to be true and a lot that still may turn out to be true. But there are also fun ones. There's also a hollow earth theory. I'm a Christian. There's a theory that Jesus didn't exist. I'm trying to get a guest to come on to talk about that. I don't agree with that, but some people have wanted to see that. We'll cover those kind of things, and I'm okay with that. I believe in being open minded. I don't believe that there's any use to closing yourself off in an echo chamber. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you learn anything. Like Roxy was a really nice lady. I think I learned a lot from her. She was very interesting and had a lot of interesting things to say. Now you may not have agreed with her beliefs, but I'm sure that she's a good person. I'm sure there's a lot about her that's of value, even if you put that aside, even if that shouldn't be a deal breaker for you, is kind of what I'm trying to say. Just because you have a different belief. Now, this is a deeply held belief for you. I understand. We're talking about the shape of the planet. I get it. I get it. So I see how it could rattle you. But she's not hurting you. And these people that believe in this, they're out there. There are a lot of them. So, and I noticed one other thing that made me sad in that interview, and I won't spend a lot of time on this. It's just something that happened. This show, I talk about my own life and then anything you guys bring up. So comment. Anything you want to get into, we will. I have other things written down, but right now we're just talking about the show on Wednesday. And it's supposed to be a fun show. Conspiracy Theories and Chill is meant to be like that. Meant to be a fun little show that we just do. And I think we did a good show. I'm proud of it. The show that we put out on Wednesday night. And I'm going to interview her again, as I said, tomorrow in the afternoon around 3, I think. I'm pretty sure 3 Central because it's for her time and I believe she's an hour ahead of me. So 3 Central, I think. We are going to continue the conversation. And oh, I remember what I was saying. Something else that made me sad in that show was the trolls. People calling people morons and idiots and stupid, and you need to seek mental health if you believe this. Mental help, rather. That's crazy. That to me is you're triggered. You got to wonder whenever you lash out, whenever you feel the need to lash out, you kind of have to wonder why. I get that this was a challenging subject. It's kind of hard to sit and listen to something that you may completely disagree with. I understand. But if it makes you angry, don't you kind of have to ask yourself, why does it make me angry? I mean, even a scientist, I think, should have been able to listen to that for entertainment. I don't see why not. Doesn't it fascinate you, other people's beliefs and maybe why they believe them? And that's really what we were looking at, you know. That's the point of having a guest on, is to explore someone else's ideas, you know. We see a lot of me, so I just don't think it's right to dismiss people offhand and just to call people names and to do things like that. I don't agree with it. But that's just me. Hey Jay, good to see you. Bring up anything you want to talk about. This is an interactive podcast. That's what I have in mind for this show. This is my Friday night show. We're just hanging out. Babels is at work, and I just wanted to do like a morning show, talk show type of show. And hopefully down the road we'll take callers. I want it to be a call-in show where we can have interaction and play games and interact with each other. But this was just on my mind because it was Wednesday night show and it happened. But Jay said I love the new look and you're totally right. Thank you. I'm trying out different looks. I'm trying to be more professional because I'm doing this as a job now. I'm doing these shows regularly during the week, and We're plugging away. I'm trying to professionally do this now. So I'm trying to make it classy and cool for you guys. And when we get the new computer, it will get cooler. Things will start looking better. I'm emulating and looking up to and trying to be like a Kyle Kalinske or Tim Black. These are people I look at and follow and try to take tips from. And I'm trying to advance and get there. We're climbing. If you want to help us, you can support the shows. There's links in the description for how to support my shows. And I'm doing 5 currently. So we're on every night of the week. And but thanks for saying I'm right. Thanks for agreeing with me. I love when people agree with me, but even if you don't, that's okay. You see what I'm saying? It's all right if you don't. Jay says, last show I commented live and was blocked from going live for 30 days. The comment link to ZB gas and vape pens and why. You got blocked for 30 days for that? This corporate censorship is outrageous. Jay was at my feed and mentioned that it is Xylon B. Wasn't that right? Xylon B in the vapes is basically what it's creating. Am I messing that up? But no, I'm getting my own videos removed too. You're right. Truthers are getting videos removed randomly. They're taking them down for copyright reasons. And I noticed you said the same thing. I don't use anything copyrighted in the videos. These are all me. It's just my words. So I don't know how it could have a copyright strike. But it was Xylon B, right? These vapes that are tampered with, the chemical that's being produced. It was very fascinating. But Jay shared that, and I'm sad to hear that you got put in Facebook Slammer for that. That is just awful, the situation that we're in. And I just hope that we do something about it before it's too late. You know, if we keep tolerating it and allowing it, it will eventually be too late to do anything about it. I don't want to wake up in that reality. You know, I hope we do something to stop this because they are censoring truth in real time. They are eliminating truth tellers. They will cut me off. Eventually, they will stop me, you know. And people have told me that I lost all credibility as a truther by interviewing a flat earther. I disagree firmly, and I will continue to have my little show. And, you know, I'm sure one day we'll cover something that you do like because I want to know what you want to see. And I want to cover things that you want to see. So that's what I want to do. That's what I have in mind. And I'm trying to get a guy right now to come on and talk about the JFK assassination. There's a lot planned in the future. So we're going to do Bigfoot. A fan of the show, Nissa, always wants Bigfoot. I'm going to do it. I'm going to look into and research it, and we're going to do it. But you should be open-minded is the point of this. And don't judge people. Why would you judge people? Why would you call someone stupid? You know that only makes you look stupid if you do that. Like, please know that that makes you look stupid. If I'm reading an argument between two people and somebody has delved down and devolved down into name calling, they have lost the argument, you know. And you may be really good at slinging zingers, but everyone knows that you're done. You don't have anything of value to say or add anymore, and you're just lashing out. And you really should look at yourself and see why you're lashing out. What's making you act that way? What's making you react that way? You know? Because it is in you. The problem is in you. It's not with what's happening, it's with how you're reacting to it. I saw a Bruce Lee quote that I really, really like. It's a great quote. And I don't remember the quote, but I've been trying to live by it. It's about how you can't react to everything. You can't allow yourself to react to everything because if you react to everything that's going on around you, then all you're ever doing is reacting. You need to just observe, take it in, and realize that not everything needs a reaction. Not everything involves you. Not everything needs you to do something about it. Pick and choose what does. You know, I've been trying to live that way, not to react to everything, not to get triggered. Although I've never really had a problem with being triggered, Just like I was able to have that conversation with her, and I was enjoying it. I was having a good time, and she's not wrong about a lot of what she said. That's what's messed up. I'm a contrarian, and there is a lot of problems with the fact that we've been lied to for a very long time on a very, very, very large scale, you know, for a long time. So to have a belief in even lizard people, which is one that I think is one of the more, if I was going to think of something that would be out there, that'd be one of them. So even lizard people like David Icke, even to have that belief, I don't think David Icke is a stupid man. I think David Icke is an inquisitive man who realizes we've been lied to on a massive scale. Who knows what's real? That's where I'm landing anymore. I'm landing in the area where I don't know what's real, you know? Kevin Smith had it in a movie where you could just about squeeze what he doesn't know into the Grand Canyon, and I think that's the best way to put it. There is so much that I don't know. There's endless amounts that I don't know. The amount of things that I'm certain about are few and far between. And I don't think we understand our reality. I really don't. And a lot of the smartest people alive right now feel the same way, that we don't fully understand our reality. Tesla felt like there was much more to this reality. Tesla's one of the smartest people that ever lived, and he understood things. And he also talked about scientism, which I talk about a lot. This belief system that we've made science into. Science isn't supposed to be that. Science is supposed to be something that's alive, something that is constantly growing and that you can question. Nothing is ever etched in stone. Not the way I understand it. That's not the way I understand it. That's not the way I never ever understood it. That's why it was always exciting to me. But now, you know, there's not even a consensus of the shape of the earth. She's not wrong in saying that. You know, it I've seen it argued and people will argue with me that Neil deGrasse Tyson misspoke, but there's lots of different variations and every picture that I've ever seen from NASA, perfect circle because they're all fake. She was right about that too. So a lot of people were like, where was the pushback? Why didn't you push back? When did she lie? I even asked her about doing research. We were going to get into more. There were things people wanted me to ask her. I had asked people on Facebook, and the ones that were nice, I was gonna ask. Like there's a particular person who's offering $5 million for some kind of proof that the Earth is flat. And there was the other guy that went up in the rocket, which I briefly got to mention, but I wanted to get into more. And I don't know if he saw anything. I don't know what happened with that. The documentary is on Netflix right now, but I haven't gotten around to watching it. And I have a computer in my pocket. I'm a cyborg, but I've literally been too lazy to look it up. I just realized there's no excuse. But something else I wrote down to talk about uh, that has to do with, frames of mind and being open-minded is dealing with self-doubt. Like I almost didn't do the show tonight. I've been thinking that this one is well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about this one sometimes. This is a baby one, and this is just talking. So I was talking myself out of doing this, and Babe has pushed me to do it. And I have a lot of cool people in my life right now that are very inspirational and always push me forward and drive me to do things that I would talk myself out of otherwise. I deal with a lot of things that I try to be more open about. I'm not very open about it, but I deal with things. I'm on medication. I have mental problems. But so I deal with a lot of self-doubt as everyone does. But you got to believe this is what I want to do. So I'm going to try my best to believe in it and move forward and make it happen and do everything I can to make it happen. But Jay talks about 3, 6, and 9. That's fascinating. I would love to get into that. That was There's a lot to that. That is really deep rabbit hole. And then Jay says, I want ancient ruins to be live streamed, but governments continue the lies. Yeah, the government does nothing but lie. They spread lies and propaganda and false narratives, and that's what they're going to do. And that's why, again, I had a real hard time pushing back at all while she was telling her story because A, I wanted her to be able to talk, and B, she wasn't lying. Like a lot of the stuff she was saying about Admiral Byrd and his expedition, that stuff's all true, and I don't know. I just don't agree with mocking people. I think that's silly. But another one that I want to cover, and this one's important, and I don't want to mess it up, is Seth Rich, who I think people, I don't know, not us, not the woke and the aware. We haven't forgot about Seth, but like I did a vigil for Seth Rich at the Capitol in Jeff City, and no one knew who he was. Like, everybody I had to tell him, and that's good. That's good. That's why I did it, so I could get the word out. But it just blew me away that this is national news. It should be. It was buried, and they covered it up, but all signs, including the fact that, WikiLeaks has never published false information, but another thing that they've never done is released a leaker's identity or released a source's identity. They have journalistic integrity. Okay. So, but Julian Assange has come very, 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 very close to basically saying that Seth was the leaker. I fully believe Seth was the leaker, and I fully believe that's why he died and why he was killed. And I just want to do something like cover it on a conspiracy theories and chill and bring focus and awareness back to Seth and get it out there and just cover why I think it. I've covered it before, but I think it's time to do it again. Especially with this Julian Assange case in the news and all this Russiagate lies. This is a time when we need to push truth again and just really push it hard. Because truth is really the only thing that's going to stop this barrage of lies. We live in the age of deceit. Everything is a lie. And the truth is being silenced. Truth tellers are sitting in prison cells, like with terrorists, for telling the truth, for publishing the truth, for spreading the truth. Or they get killed, which is what I believe happened to Seth, for spreading the truth. No one claims that the WikiLeaks that were released were false. They just let them be out there. They never said, hey, that's not true. Matter of fact, they had to admit they were true. How did all that just go away? Think about how powerful the media is just for a second. Was G here? I didn't see G. Jay says you can inform others without mocking them. Barry says Yankey is a tool. Barry is cool. Barry's one of my biggest fans. Barry's mad at me about the Flat Earth episode, but that's fine. I mean, that's cool. We'll get into other things too that you may not like because I don't close myself off in a bubble and I don't live in an echo chamber and I don't want to. So I will listen to fascinating views. I watch Flat Earth stuff and I'm a conspiracy theorist and it's for, entertainment. I love it. I've watched the conspiracy theory on the one that makes me mad even is that Bill Hicks, my hero, the comic legend Bill Hicks, is Alex Jones. That's a real conspiracy theory, Barry. So I don't like it, but it exists, and I would cover it if people wanted to see it, even though I hate that one. There's a lot of good conspiracies. And you know what, Barry? I'm convinced for a fact that you don't know the truth about the earth. I'm convinced that nobody really does. I am 100% convinced at this point that reality is in some way being hidden from us. That there is secret knowledge and secret information that we don't know and we don't fully understand our existence. And even the ones that think they fully do don't. We can't fully understand it. I really don't think that we can. So I just don't know about our reality anymore. Do you understand that some of the smartest people that are living right now believe that we live in a matrix? Do you understand that someone way more intelligent than Barry believes that there's a 1 in a billion chance that we don't live in a computer simulation? A computer simulation, Barry. What shape is the Earth in a computer simulation? People like you make me sick, Barry. That you would come into a show. I hate when I get distracted, but my background is in stand-up comedy. So when you have a heckler, you embarrass the shit out of them. And then they never ever want to heckle anybody ever again. That's your job, is to shut them up. And then it just upsets me on another level because you are the type of person that I was talking about in the beginning who would call somebody stupid offhand when you can learn so much from people that you would just write off. You know, these people have so much more value and there's so much more to somebody than one belief. You know what I'm saying? And there's things that you believe probably that I might think is silly. You know, why would you judge someone? Jay says no mocking, and Jay pulled me back in. Jay held me back. Jay, you saved the day because I was going to tear Barry to shreds, and there's no reason to do that. Barry's a good guy. I'm sure. I'm sure Barry's a good guy. My boss has a saying, and she likes to say this all the time. I work in customer service, and my boss likes to say all the time, when someone's mad or mean or something, you never know. Something bad might have happened to them that day. You know, someone they love might have died, or they might have lost their job, or you never know. So there could be all kinds of reasons. Barry could be having a bad day. You know what I'm saying? And I got love for Barry. So yeah, it takes all kinds. It takes all kinds to spin the world around. So I love you, Barry. I'm sorry. But Julian Assange is an important issue, and that's something I'm going to cover coming up because I want to bring focus to that too. First off, you know how many people think he's Russian? Isn't that sad? That's incredibly sad to me. You know, talk about that for a second, Barry. Like, you know, I understand that it's sad that somebody believes the earth is flat. I understand you think that's sad. You think that's a very sad thing. But there are people that believe that Julian Assange is Russian. Isn't that sad? That's sad to me. That's maybe sadder to me because that's what? That's just as ridiculous. It's just as ridiculous. Jay said you never know what others are going through. That's true. You should always take that into consideration. I mean, like I'm saying, Barry could be having a bad day. You never know. Or Barry could be riding on cloud nine and he could just really believe I'm stupid. Who knows? It doesn't matter. And we're circling back to self-doubt. You know, you got to believe in yourself. You can't always wonder if you're wrong. And then you'll spend your whole day wondering if you're wrong. I've done it. It doesn't get you anywhere. You just spin your wheels. But let's see. Jay, what do you want to talk about? Yeah, truth is truth from Russians as well. Even if he was Russian, it wouldn't matter. He's Australian, by the way. But I'm just saying that there are people that believe he's a Russian asset. There's people who believe he's a super spy, like he's running around like a James Bond villain. It's really ridiculous what people believe. But that's sad. That's a sad state of affairs. It's a sad reality. And it's something that we have to deal with. And it's not even their fault. Like, I find it hard to even fault people that believe the media. It's not their fault. They're up against so much brainwashing and so much indoctrination. You're not educated in this country, you're indoctrinated. So from the time you're little, your mind is being formed to make you a good citizen, good worker bee. Not to think for yourself, not to be creative. That's not encouraged. That happens. I'm glad it happens, but it happens organically. It happens on its own. You know, it's not encouraged by society or pushed as something important. So it just grows on its own. And then you're brainwashed by the media. The media is a weapon. It's weaponized propaganda. It was taken over by the CIA in the 50s. The truth just has been under attack for a long time. It's just now I think they're going for the killing blow, and I'm afraid they're gonna eliminate it. You know, sit down and read books like 1984 and ask yourself, we're real close to living in that book. Like, do you want to live in that book? Like, is that where you want to go? Like, when are we going to do something about this? No, I haven't gotten to see the Joker yet. That is the next one I'm working on Babel's about. She never wants to see the movies I want to see. You know, sometimes I get to pick. She would probably say I always get to pick, which if I'm being honest, I usually do. But she don't want to see it. And like she don't like artsy movies. She's not that into artsy movies. I really want to see the Joker. It looks fascinating to me, and I've heard that they deal with mental illness in a really interesting way. And Jay says lots of truths in the movie Joker. That's what I've heard. I've heard it is an in-depth look at mental illness. And I know that I got chills when I was watching the preview because when he's talking to his doctor, I see a doctor, and he's like, "You ask me the same questions every time. You're not even listening to me." I feel that way. Every time I see my doctor, I feel like she asked me the exact same questions, and I'm giving her the exact same answers. And and there may be more to what the story is. Like she may ask me a question about different thoughts or whatever, and I'll lie if I think that something I tell her will get me in trouble. So I don't know. It's just I think that there's a big mental health problem in this country, and I'm glad that this Joker movie is exposing and showing and shining a light on mental health issues. You know, I know a lot of people are disappointed that it's not a full-blown comic book movie, but I think it looks awesome. I want to see it really bad, and I'm trying to get Babos to see it because I could go by myself, but I don't like going to the movies by myself. You know, I never have. Like the movie is like a community type thing. Like I'll watch a movie. See, at home, it don't bother me. At home, I can watch a movie by myself and it don't bother me. But at the theater, I want to go with somebody and then afterwards be able to talk about it. I've went by myself before, and then you leave and you're like looking to your right for somebody to talk to, and then you look to your left, there ain't nobody. And it's like, man, I want to talk about this movie I just watched. Jay says go, it's amazing. I will. If she don't want to see it, I will go because I really want to see it. And the movies that deal with that kind of stuff. Like there was a movie called damn it, something about being a wallflower. I don't remember the title of this movie, but I related with this guy in the movie so much that it made me cry. And I love movies that explore mental illness because you don't get a lot of platforms that do it, and when they do it, it's very rare that they do it well, you know? And if you deal with mental illness and you see it represented well, it really touches you because it shows you that someone else understands what it's like, you know? A lot of times it feels very lonely when you're dealing with mental things. Like and you realize that okay, this isn't as bad as I'm making it out to be or but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because your mind is betraying you, you know? And it's almost like you're watching in the background and you can't do anything about it. It's hard to explain. I'm not even going to attempt to explain it, but when you see it done well in film or in literature or anywhere, it touches you. Just like I'm sure if anything you deal with is represented in art, it touches you. Jay says a beautiful mind. That one got you. Yeah, there's a lot of movies out there that are like that really get it right and touch you and they nail something. Like I wish I could remember the name of this movie because I loved it. I guess I didn't love it enough to remember the name of the movie, but I almost didn't want to watch it again. I forced myself to watch it a second time because the first time there was a scene in the movie where it felt like I was that guy, you know. It's wild when a movie does that. And it's very rare. But I'm gonna see the Joker. I am gonna convince her to go see it. I'm gonna tell her that Jay said we have to go see it. That'll work. So that's what I'll tell her. Be like, Sergeant Jay said we gotta go see it. And if we don't go see it, the sergeant's not gonna be happy. And I'll even throw in a Gomer Pyle accent. And be like, we gotta make Sarge happy. That's how I'll get it. But what do you guys want to talk about real quick before we wrap up? We usually do an hour. We're at about 40 minutes. I've got nothing else written down. And I am going to make dinner after the show. But other than that, I'm all open. So whatever you want to get into. Jay says society wants us to know about 22 a day for soldiers, but they don't want to tell it us to older veterans, not the recent veterans. They don't want to talk about the more than double the amount of civilian suicides. Jay has a group on Facebook, 22 a day. Did you know that? 22 a day, 22 soldiers a day commit suicide? Veterans a day. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy, right? That's a crazy stat. That goes back to the mental health problem in this country and the fact that we send these kids, first off, that sign up for something other than what they think they're signing up for because they're misled on what the military even does. Our military, they defend God, all right, gold, oil, and drugs. That's what they're defending. So they sign up for something else, something they believed in. I'm sure Jay believed in something else she was signing up for. And then you find out I am basically a bodyguard and an enforcer for the establishment elite, and we're the bad guys, you know, and they get exposed to some horrible things. My stepdad was a Vietnam, and I've never served, so I don't know firsthand the things that Jay might have dealt with and that my stepfather might have dealt with, but he was a Vietnam veteran, and I was watching Leno one night, The Tonight Show, and he had a flashback, and I gotta tell you, man, that was horrific. Like, you know what I mean? I can't imagine dealing with the things that he had to see. He didn't tell me very many stories, and there was a friend of my dad's that was a veteran of Vietnam as well, and he talked about some stories, and there was one particular story that he told me one night when he was a little drunk, and it was about how he was a sniper, and he said that they would walk children in with explosives strapped to them with, on detonators. And when they got far enough into the base, they pull the strings and they blow up. So you'd have to kill them. And he was sitting there telling me about this, like he was a sniper for this base or whatever. And he had to kill this kid. And he's sitting there crying, talking about it. And I'm like, how many stories of this does this man have? How many stories like this that tear him apart inside? How many stories like that does this man have? How many stories can you have hold inside like that? What does that do to you? And that's an extreme example, you know, having to shoot a child that is being used as a bomb. But that's a real story that was told to me when I was little by a veteran. He had had too much to drink. He probably wasn't trying to scar a small child, but I've remembered it for my whole life. Like, and that's true. They did do that. Jay says they don't want us to drive cars and planes, but they don't want to end their tanks and murder for profit. Fukum. Fukum is a new word that we have invented, and it is a classy word, and it's not as fun to say as its F word cousin, but it's more sensor friendly. So you can fukum, and you can do that on regular TV. You could fook them on TV. You can just fook them. It's a really, really versatile word, and we're going to make it catch on, me and Jay. We're going to spread that word and make it part of the vernacular. You know, fook 'em, fook 'em. I almost got a little too close to the cousin word there. They're really similar. They're really similar words, but they don't mean the same thing. We actually haven't decided what fukum means, but we're going to figure something out. We're constantly thinking, me and Jay. We're constantly thinking. Someone else has got to be here. Don't you think that's weird, Jay, that it's just me and you, and there's been upwards of 20 people at this feed, and no one has talked? Is that a little odd to anybody but me and you? I know it's probably odd to you as well because you do streams, but I'm also suppressed on YouTube. I'm suppressed on Facebook and I'm suppressed on YouTube. And I have one person here on YouTube. I have 900 subscribers on YouTube. That's not much. That's not super impressive. But I have one person here on YouTube. I have 5,000 friends on Facebook. I have 7 people here on Facebook, and only Jay is talking. I'm only seeing hearts from Jay. Only Jay is here. It's weird to me, right? Isn't that weird? That's weird to me. And it is, we've had upwards of 20 people here, and no one's commented. I don't believe that. You know, a lot of times I've been told that the number it shows me, you can't trust that either, you know. And then they do take away views even. Can you believe that from a Facebook video? I've had a Facebook video go from 600 views to 450 before my very eyes. Like, because I pay attention to how many views I get, you know. This is my little hobby. So I pay attention. And I check it, it's got 623 views, and I go back, it's got 480. Like, where'd they go? YouTube does the same thing. YouTube takes views away. I've had it happen to me on YouTube as well. I've had views cut in half on YouTube. Isn't that weird? And they're open about it. They talk about that they do it. Jeffrey, someone else is here. Jay, someone else is here. Jay said, I was trained to hate an entire race for freedom, but my humanity would not allow it, and I learned the truth. Yep. And you're taught to dehumanize them. You know, they were like my stepdad and this fella that my dad knew. You know, they would talk about him as lesser than people. You would hear it, and they were trained to think that way. They were brainwashed to think that way, and it's just a whole unfortunate situation. What we do to these people is criminal. And then we don't take care of them when they get home. We abandon them. And that's how you end up with 22 a day committing suicide. Jeffrey said, I started a watch party in the biggest group that I admin with over 100,000 people. Whoa. And I've been commenting on that. I also shared the crap out of it at the same time. Wow. 100,000 people group. That's amazing. Jay says Claudia Stauber had over 90 shares and hundreds of comments, but 0 views. I had that happen. I had that happen the other day. I don't remember what show it was, but there was like 50 something people at certain points, a lot of people at the feed, and afterwards, 0 views. 0. Isn't that funny? That's funny. It's not funny though. It's really scary, and it scares the hell out of me. As well, as somebody that wants to do this for a living, and as just an American citizen or a citizen of the world, truth is being killed. The truth is in danger, and the only thing that's going to save it, if we save it, we can't keep waiting on a hero. Jeffrey says 1% of anything never won any election without cheating. These monsters at the top work together as they play both sides to the middle. And throughout history, they've always played both sides. They play both sides in every war. They always play both sides. This game is rigged. Jeffrey's right. It's completely rigged, but it is not impossible to overwhelm it with our numbers. And Jeffrey Epstein did not commit suicide. I just think that's important to say while we have 26 people here. Jeffrey Epstein did not commit suicide. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that too. And How are they getting away with that? What happened to the Epstein story? You know what I'm saying? Where'd that go? That was a sex ring with ties to elite and powerful, very rich and wealthy people, a lot of actors and entertainers. You would be amazed at the list of people that have been on the Lolita Express, Jeffrey Epstein's private plane. Amazed. Presidents. Oh, just goes away when he commits suicide in his jail cell, most guarded prisoner on the planet, hangs himself from a 4-foot bunk bed, and the story just goes away. That's awful convenient. How convenient can things get before people start realizing that it's orchestrated? What's it going to take? Jeffrey, what do you think? What do you think it would take for people to pull back the curtain and finally see reality for what it really is? You know, or Barry, what do you think? What do you think it would take? I sometimes wonder. I really do. Because we're putting up with a lot and we tolerate it. We're letting it happen. We're the only ones that can stop it. Bob says not even sure he is dead. Oh, Epstein? And me neither. Me neither. Isn't that crazy? That's messed up. That we live in a reality where it is not outside the realms of possibility that that man is alive somewhere. That's crazy. Why are we allowing this? Why are we allowing this? We don't need to. We don't need to. And if we would ever realize our power, we would ever realize that our power is in our numbers, and we would use our unity and rise up, we could change it. We could. And I hope we do. I'm pushing for us too, but if we don't, you better warm up to that. Warm up to 1984. Warm up to those dystopian novels. Because that's where we're heading. If you don't defend the truth, and if we allow Julian Assange to be persecuted, and we allow things like Seth Rich's death to go unsolved and just be buried when we all know that he died to release those WikiLeaks emails and expose what the DNC was doing, we'll have no one to blame but ourselves. When we find ourselves in a world where truth no longer exists, it will completely be our fault and our doing. So we'd better do something while we still can. I mean, we do still live in the age of information, and even though me and Jay have pointed out how Facebook and YouTube throttles things like this, we can still help them grow. Look, a watch party was started, and people are showing up. Jeffrey was nice enough to start a watch party. We're getting views now. People are talking again. So Bob says can't cut the noose if you don't believe in scissors. Jay said I was a corrections officer for a while. Peeps on suicide watch can rarely take a without someone watching, so I call BS from experience. Yeah, I've been on suicide watch before, okay? At a hospital. And you can't even go to the bathroom by yourself. And he was on camera. His cell was on camera. Of course, the camera's down. Didn't work. The camera also didn't work when he got beat up in his cell. How'd that happen? Did it happen? Or did they just do that to see if they could get away with the other one? Who knows? Who knows what's real and what's fake? That's what I'm saying. We don't know. And it's not outside the realms. If you're watching and you think it's crazy that Epstein's still alive, it's not really when you start looking into him. That man was not any kind of stockbroker or no kind of investment guru. He was a sex slave operator. So he ran a sex trade, a sex ring for very powerful and elite people. And he also, more than likely, had ties to intelligence and Israel intelligence. The Mossad is where That's all leading, but there's a lot there. And there's still a madam running around. There's still a case there. There's still links and ties to all these people, but it's all going away. Conveniently, and a lot was exposed in the WikiLeaks that also went away, like Pizzagate. What Jeffrey Epstein was doing, you know, they called it Pizzagate, and well, there was a reason why it was called that. I could tell you, but we'd have to go all the way through the WikiLeaks, and you refused to look at them. Like, they were out there, but you wouldn't look at them. The elite love pizza. They love it. You can't get enough of it. And hot dogs, too. They love hot dogs. You believe that. You believe these billionaires have hot dog and pizza related napkins that they're leaving behind with maps on them. Believe all that. It's just normal. It's normal to have $65,000 hot dog parties at the White House. Yeah, because grown adult billionaires behave like small children and they have pizza parties. And I'm not talking about a late night, you know, worked all day, order 50 pizzas for the office. I'm talking about like classy parties with where they dress up and stuff. They made it fantastical. I think Comet Pizza was probably a distraction from the very beginning, and their Instagram was probably fake. Did you see it? It was disgusting. And the art hanging in that place, it was all a distraction so that you could make it ridiculous. But it's not ridiculous. There were sex rings busted out of the Catholic Church in, what is it, Pennsylvania or Philadelphia? One of the P states. And hundreds of priests, thousands of victims going on in a chain of Catholic churches. These things are all over the place. It's rampant. Do you know how many kids go missing every day? When I worked at a truck stop, they trained us. I was a manager at a truck stop, and they trained us how to identify sex slaves that were being made to work truck stop parking lots. This stuff is real, and looking the other way is what allows it to happen. And the WikiLeaks were true. What the information they released was true. No one ever denied it. And Julian Assange is being persecuted and prosecuted for that information because they know it's out there. It's out there. You can look at it right now. You can go, you want to question me and see if I'm wrong. Go look through it. See if there's not a lot of really weird conversations going on in those emails. And they're talking about something, and it's code for something. So, what's it code for? You know what I'm saying? If it's not code for what that stuff is code for in the FBI database, which is pedophilia, then it's code for something else. So, what's it code for? What are these maps to? You know what I'm saying? Where'd that go? Why aren't we asking that? This stuff is real. There is evil going on in the world, and it's being allowed to happen by good people looking the other way. Jeffrey says 9 out of 10 Democrat voters support Medicare for all. Yep. Over half of all Republicans do as well. And they all support legalizing cannabis. 70% of the entire country supports Medicare for all. Yes. The people want better. And those that don't, most of them are misled and convinced to vote against their own best interest because they're convinced that we can't have these things. It's not that they don't want them. Like Pete Buttigieg has his Medicare for all who want it because there's all kinds of people that are walking around going, I hate healthcare. I don't want any healthcare. They just don't understand it. If they don't want it, they don't understand it. They don't even understand that they can have it, and that they're worth it, that they deserve it, that they're the last country in our economic status to offer it. They don't understand a lot of this stuff. The average person lives in under a constant barrage of lies and misdirection. As we already talked about, you're lied to since you're little, and you're taught to not think for yourself, taught to be ashamed to think for yourself. They shame you. That's where the term conspiracy theory even came from, is they wanted to shame people from thinking for themselves and questioning the official narrative of anything. They coined the term around the time of the JFK assassination, but it's a CIA term. Conspiracies are real, theories are real, detectives use them every day, and there's nothing strange or stupid about them, and they don't make you stupid, but they convince you to think that people that have conspiracy theories are stupid. So you won't listen to them. That's why. That's why they train you to believe that. But it's a lie. Jeffrey says, sorry, the media that the oligarchy controls. Mm-hmm. The media is controlled. It's a weapon. It's something that we're up against, and something we'll have to deal with and fight. We're up against a lot of stuff, but I don't want to talk like a quitter. We need to do something about it, right? We got to make a change, right? And only we can do it. So there's only two options: give up or fight. And I'm always going to be on the side of fighting. That's just what I believe in. I'm going to be on the side of fighting. I'm not going to sit and watch truth die. I'm going to go out kicking and screaming. Bob says, who wouldn't collaborate with their friends to accomplish goals? Right, exactly. If you believe that conspiracies don't exist, I think it's you that's naive. Conspiracies are real. And if you believe rich and powerful people don't conspire to keep that power and wealth, that's naive. You're the one that's being naive. Is everything that I believe right? I never claimed it was. But do these things happen? Is there people pulling the strings from behind the curtain? Absolutely. What do they call themselves? Who knows? But you know what I'm talking about when I say Illuminati. You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much why it gets that brand, but you can call them whatever you want. There's a handful of people that bought and paid for this whole thing. They own it. You could fit them in this room. You'd still have room for a waiter to walk around and serve hors d'oeuvres. There ain't even that many of them. And they only have their power because they've created an illusion that we're weak. And they keep us that way with divide and conquer tactics and misinformation by making everything a lie. When the CIA infiltrated the media and during Operation Mockingbird, go ahead and look that up. Give it a Google. It's true. They said that their express purpose was to make sure that everything the average American person believed was false. They wanted to make sure everything you believe is true is actually a lie. That you don't have any real concept of reality and aren't aware of what's actually going on and what's actually happening. That's the purpose of the media. From the CIA director. And the CIA infiltrated the media. And then you don't want to follow me there. You want to believe that Operation Mockingbird stopped. It's a fact that it happened. But you want to say it stopped. Okay. 6 corporations own all media. 6. 6 corporations own all of it. Every bit of it. Movies too. All of it. You trace it all back to 6 boardrooms. You think that they don't control what goes out? What the narrative is? What they talk about? You think Rachel Maddow has free reign? Real journalism doesn't exist anymore on the mainstream media. It's lies and propaganda. It's all it is. And it's all it's been for a really long time. I don't know why anybody watches it. How do you watch, how do you sit through a Rachel Maddow episode at this point and take her seriously? For 2 years, she's been selling you a crazy conspiracy theory that Russia rigged our election with absolutely no proof as fact. for years now. She's pushing a narrative that she's being paid handsomely to push. You know what I mean? If you want real truth, you got to find it for yourself. You got to seek it out and find it for yourself. And when you find it, support it. Do all you can to support it, or it'll die off. And that's what they're trying to do. That's their agenda. That's what their goal is to silence the truth as much as they possibly can in any way that they can. Right now that's by suppressing views, blocking you in search results, different things. Book burning has evolved. It's still very real, still happens. It's just different. It's more high tech and it's controlled by corporations. So everybody thinks it's okay because, well, YouTube's a company. So they can decide what gets out and what don't, what they push and what they don't. They can make that decision. That's fine, I guess. But where else am I going to put a video out? You know what I'm saying? They got a monopoly on that. So I feel like they're a utility. I don't feel like it's right for them to pull and throttle anybody. I feel like they should give a balanced platform and let whatever's popular rise to the top and whatever's not fail. That's just my own opinion, and that's in a fantasy world that doesn't exist that I wish existed, Jay says, one thing that hit me with the Roxy talk, there's a lot of land in Antarctica with a lot of resources. That said, when Earth was warmer, it was full of vegetation and wildlife. Think climate change. Yeah, and there's been a lot of theories. There's different theories about Antarctica. There's theories about evidence of hidden civilization in Antarctica. And the globe has went through a lot of different changes. So that area and that landmass, there's a lot we don't know about it. And Admiral Byrd, a real admiral, said that there was a lot of unexplored land in Antarctica. So, and there is. Even explorers today say that that's where the only place that there's unexplored areas. And there's a lot there. And that Jay says, I want to see the poles. Yeah, and that's interesting too. You can't go to the South Pole. I don't know about the North. But you can't go to the South. They take you to a place they call the South Pole, but it's not really the South Pole. But I thought the Roxy talk was fun. I had a good time. I hope you had a good time. And I like watching that stuff. I like listening to that stuff. I find it fascinating. But I don't believe we understand our reality. I don't believe we fully understand our reality, and I don't judge anybody for their views. And I fully understand why anybody would question, especially the government's official story on anything. And I have unpopular beliefs too. I don't believe we've ever been to the moon. We've never been to the moon. I don't believe we can leave low Earth orbit. I don't think we can go any higher than about 4 miles up. Does that make me stupid? I don't know. I guess it does. I'm not sure. But I don't believe NASA. And it's their fault. It's not my fault. It's their fault. They are a fraudulent agency. And we can go on and on about why. If there's any interest in it, I will. But it's their fault that I don't believe them. And, a lot of smarter people that have debated me about the moon will at least admit that the moon footage, a lot of it is probably fake. Now, why? People are coming around to start admitting that okay, maybe the footage was fake. Well, why would that footage be fake? And if you're lying about one part, you got to be lying about more. Just like 9/11, Building 7. If Building 7 falls to dust at 5 whatever in the evening into its own footprint at free fall speed in a controlled demolition fashion, then the other two that fell the same way were also set up for a controlled demolition. Jay says Operation Paperclip. That's the foundation of NASA. That's also the foundation of the CIA. Operation Paperclip was a real operation after World War II where the world sucked up all of the scientists and researchers and etc. from Nazi Germany, war criminals that did horrible experiments on real people, monsters, and we brought them in to start these agencies, to start NASA, to start the CIA, to start other things. Put them in a lot of powerful positions and a lot of different government jobs. We brought over 1,600 of them. That's real. Jay says, why the lies if not needed? Exactly. 9/11 was an inside job. That's another one. People tell me I'm stupid for believing that. I think you're naive if you believe the official story. The official story doesn't hold water, it doesn't stand up on its own. And the stuff they can't explain, they outright omit. They just leave it out. There's nothing to it. It's paper thin. So if you're buying that, then your opinion of me doesn't really matter to me. I could give you 50 reasons why I believe it's an inside job. You can only point me at a document that won't stand on its own for why you think it isn't. That and you think it can't happen, that not that many people could lie or a plan couldn't be carried out. But have you ever heard of compartmentalization? Compartmentalization is a process of doing something where you only know what you need to know to do your job. And only the people at the very top actually know what's happening, actually know what the big picture is. That is a real thing that was used to build the atomic bomb. Now, nobody knew they were building an atomic bomb, but lots of people were involved with building it. And the way that was accomplished was with compartmentalization, which is also something that's used in the military, something Jay's probably familiar with from a military background. Compartmentalization is real. So most of the people that would have been involved in 9/11 wouldn't even know it. They wouldn't even know. Their role was so insignificant, and they had no idea it was dishonest. 99% of the people that involved in that day that were either being misled, misdirected, pointed in the wrong direction, whatever, weren't involved. You really look at who it took to be involved. I think you really only need Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney involved in the administration. There's evidence that more were involved, but you only need those two. And then the CIA and the Mossad can handle everything else. They're professional liars. So right there, I've explained how it could happen with only a handful of people. Everyone else doesn't know what they're doing. Jay says I may have heard of it. Exactly. And watch the movie Long Kiss Goodnight, Government Killers. There's a lot of truth in Hollywood. There's a lot of truth in movies and TV. You know, the truth is sprinkled everywhere, but that's part of their belief system. The powers that be, they believe in putting it in plain sight, and then our silence is our consent. When we're silent to what's going on, that's us consenting to it. That's what they believe. So they put it all out in front of us. It's all out there. And we just refuse to look at it. And I'm not talking to the people that are woke. I'm talking to the average person. But this has been the Yankey Show, and it's weird. It's a weird show. Let me know if you dig it, because, like I said, I almost didn't air tonight's episode, and I'm having doubts about this particular one because it's just hanging out and talking. So I'm like, I like it because it's fun and it's personal to me because I like it. But I'm like, is anybody digging it? You know what I mean? We had a good turnout tonight, but we talked about a lot of really cool stuff. I had fun. So if you guys had fun, let me know. And this will be a regular thing. But this is our Friday show for now. Every Friday at 8 p.m. So come back next Friday and hang out with us. We never really know what we're going to do. Like I said, this one's random, and it all goes off the comments, and we had a lot of good comments today. So, but thanks for coming, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Yankey Show. And again on Monday for a new Daily Burn. We have 5 little shows. Please support us with the links in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.